Thank you so much, Naledi. You know, we are standing here really in the heart of this power station of Tutuka. You know, it used to be one of the jewels in Eskom's fleet. And I'm going to ask my camera colleague, Sia, to just pan and show you what behind us. So Sia's just going to show you the power station behind us. In fact, he's starting this side on my left. And on my left, what you can see is actually the substation where the electricity obviously goes before it's sent to the different substations across the country. While we do know that the minister and his entourage have not arrived yet at this power station, they will be making their way here to the Tutuka Power Station as they go about their business with watching and maintaining and ensuring that the different power stations are up to date. What I thought was quite interesting, Naledi, as we got in, we actually saw quite a large contingent of army personnel holding rifles, and these are, they're holding rifles that have armed ammunition in them. So it's quite interesting. And when we spoke to some of the staff here, they said that the army had been at this power station on and off for the past 8 months because of the issues of sabotage, the issues of copper theft. And it seems that in this area at this power station, there are people that are coming to the power station to steal the oil that's here, the oil reserves that are here, to steal the copper wires. At this point, it's still unclear whether it's the work of a syndicate or whether it's the work of disgruntled employees or whether it's the work of common thieves trying to steal the copper wires. But the extent to which they're coming here in the night, using access areas that are known to staff that work here, lends itself to the question of how much of an extent is it of an inside job, or they're getting information from people working inside this power station and telling them the easy ways to get into the access routes in and out of the power station. So a lot of things are not going right here at this Tutuka power station. The army has helped where they can, but it's still a case of they are still getting those incidents of copper cable thefts, and they are getting incidents of sabotage, and it's going to be a long road ahead for the recovery of this power station. Naledi.
Yeah, I think it is quite interesting, Nozintombi, that you are actually at a power station, because we certainly have spoken about them from a bird's eye view. Now we're actually at one, looking at what's going on the ground at some of those power stations. When you speak to the staff, or when you hear their concerns, I mean, are they concerned about their own safety, for instance? Has the army been able to make any sort of difference? And what time are we also expecting the minister to arrive?
So we were expecting the minister to arrive here by 9 o'clock. He'll be flying in from, I think from Pretoria, but in this week, just looking at the site visit program, he started at the Krail power station. Yesterday, he was supposed to go to Kusile, today to Tutuka, tomorrow Letabo, and on Friday, Kuba power station. So we know that he'll be using the helicopter to fly to all these different power stations to make sure that he arrives. So we're not quite sure why he's not here yet, but we do understand from his team that his arrival is imminent. To talk about the issue of the security here at Tutuka, Naledi, is such an important issue here, because Tutuka supplies quite a large amount of megawatts of electricity to the national grid. And over the past year, with it not being functioning at optimal as it should be functioning at optimal, it has exacerbated the load shedding situation that we're facing as a country, because it's one more power station that Eskom has to put funds and finance into ensuring that the turbines are on optimal substandard, the stacks are built properly, and that they are releasing emissions at the rate that they should be releasing the emissions, and that the copper wires are not being stolen, so that the flow of electricity from the substations, from the turbines, do go to the substations that you can see behind me. So there is a lot of work. There has been unhappiness. We know that the staff here has complained about the working conditions, about the salaries. But, that's a broader issue that Eskom is dealing with under the austerity measures that Eskom is undergoing to try and bring itself back to where it used to be in terms of their business. They've had to put in quite a number of austerity measures, and salaries is one of their biggest spend on line items. And what they've done is they have really, it's been a struggle for them to maintain the salaries for the workforce. And they're seeing the response from the staff by incidents of microaggression, sabotage, different shafts not working, different turbines not being working, breaking down, oil being stolen, copper being stolen. So these little elements of microaggression and sabotage are things that Eskom has been seeing. We know that the Eskom lawyer, raised this issue. President Cyril Ramokgopa himself was here at this Tutuka Power Station, I think around May last year, and he also noted the issues. And that's when the task team was set up that led to the army being here and the army presence being here. So this May will be about a full year since the president came to assess this area, and the Minister of Electricity now will be doing his assessment to see how far they've come and what strides they've made in ensuring that they deal with the staffing issue, they deal with the unhappiness from staff, they tighten up the security, they make sure that the infrastructure is working, and that acts of sabotage, theft are minimized to a complete minimum occurrence, so that this power station can come back online and provide the necessary megawatts needed to help Eskom stave off the levels of load shedding that we have seen. We know that from 4 o'clock today, Eskom has announced that we'll be moving to stage 3 and 4. So, it's things like that are concerning. Key points such as power stations, such as this one, Tutuka, and all the different power stations are points that need to be extremely secured, and they need to have as much security as possible to ensure that there is no theft, there is no sabotage, and that one element is removed away from Eskom's plate, and Eskom can focus really on the business of providing sustainable and secure and consistent electricity to the nation, Naledi.
Yeah, just one last question, Nozintombi. I think it was in February when we heard that the confirmation, rather, that about 300 members of the SANDF had been deployed to our power stations. When you are at Tutuka right now, as I said earlier, it's interesting to be at the power station and be able to show this to our viewers. Can you visibly see the presence of the SANDF, or are they still sort of scattered around and not as visible as one would want them to be, considering that this is a very key point of our country?
You're quite right, Naledi. When we got here, it's actually interesting that I actually, I had given you that information a bit earlier, but as we got in, we saw a huge army truck, as well as quite a number of army personnel holding their R5 rifles. And obviously this is not rubber bullets. These are live ammunition guns that they're holding. So in terms of the presence of the army, it is such an incongruous a scene. You go to a power plant, and where you're expecting to see the security at the power plant, you're seeing the presence of the army. And this goes to show just how desperate and dire the situation is, that army personnel is patrolling the length and breadth of the substations. They're right in the front at the very main entrance, at the back entrance, and they are doing patrols up and down. We also know that there is a drone that has been provided to this substation, and that drone, we understand from some of the security personnel, has been quite instrumental in helping the security personnel as well as helping the army identify when they do see groups or clusters of people making their way clandestinely in the fields. Because to paint a picture of what the power station looks like, it's a huge power station that's surrounded by farmland, by fields. So it's quite easy for people who want to come in to hide in the thick bushes and the thick grass that's growing around here. So it does make it a little bit difficult
Right.
for the foot patrols to monitor if they're on the north side and there's a group coming from the east or the southern side. So the drone that has been given is assisting in showing at night and during the day. It does identify when there are clusters of people trying to come in, sneaking their way into this power station. And with the backup of the SANDF that we saw standing in front of the main gates with their buses and their cars and their patrols, that certainly is helping the security here
Right.
in trying to come to grips and grapple and really close off the issue of the sabotage and the thefts that we've seen here at the Tutuka Power Station.